Hey guys, it's Frederik from the FWX podcast. I want to continue with our coverage of the Mission Impossible franchise, and we are at the final cluster of this movie franchise, as I have the information right now for the movie with this poster, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning. And so, this is the first part for the last cluster. By the way, I haven't seen the final Reckoning yet, which is the last movie so far, so I'm not gonna do that until I've seen the movie myself, and we'll cover it then. So I am gonna talk about that Reckoning. I'm gonna talk about the story and the characters in it. Once again, there are people you have seen and have not seen in it. I'm also gonna talk about them. Also, there's this handy dandy picture right here. So that is this one right here, that Reckoning. It's a different picture than the one I got here on the poster. Anyway, so before I begin, I'm gonna give you the disclaimer. Like in previous installments, in previous episodes that I've done now, I occasionally flub words. I might also swear or not. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. I might also have a weird pause where I'm looking something up on my screen, or because I haven't gathered all my thoughts about what I'm reading. Also, in terms of that, if that happens, the screen will become a bit brighter and I will become a bit brighter. So, that is all of that. Let's start with this, for now, penultimate episode of this penultimate movie of the Mission Impossible franchise. Okay. So, we once again begin with a bit of a prologue of this movie as we find ourselves aboard the Sevastopol, which is a next generation stealth submarine of the Russian Navy, as it is activating a advanced AI, as they're using two specific keys. A cruciform key, which is an oddly shaped kind of key. And you see this in the movie. I don't have a picture of it to show you. Anyway. And so this AI is called the Entity. And as it is used, it unfortunately does what we fear in our real life. It becomes sentient. And it effectively goes rogue on the submarine that it is inserted into its system, and it deceives the crew into attacking themselves with a torpedo, which kills everyone aboard, and it sinks the submarine into the Bering Sea. And for those who don't know where that is between the two largest land masses on Earth, Eurasia and the Americas. Basically, you know how large Russia is, so from their farthest point away to the farthest point of the United States and Alaska, which is the state that is right there. So in between that area is the Bering Sea, where the Sevastopol comes to sink because of the AI. And so a lot of world powers are trying to get their hands on the cruciform keys, as they hope to control this rogue AI, the Entity. And we get a sequence of a montage between some action scenes here. For instance, we find that Ethan Hunt, once again, played in all these movies by Mr. Tom Cruise, as he is traveling to the Arabian Desert in the part known as the Rub al Khali, or the Empty Quarter, which is a huge desert in Saudi Arabia. I'm looking it up just to be sure that it is there. Well, let's just say it's such a large desert that actually it isn't just in Saudi Arabia. It's also in parts of Oman and the United Arab Emirates and Yemen. So it's this extremely big desert on the Arabian Peninsula. And there he retrieves one key from his old friend, well, or friend or close person that he has come to know. Ilsa Faust, played in this movie once again by Rebecca Ferguson, who used to work for MI6. And she's been hunted by mercenaries. And Ethan and her fake her death so that the mercenaries cannot get the bounty on her head. And that leads Ethan to go back to work in America, into Washington, D.C., where he slips into a meeting of the U.S. intelligence community, where he is once again using that famous technology that the IMF uses, the kind of face mask. And so he's in this meeting, in this briefing, with the Director of National Intelligence, who is played in this movie by this guy, Cary Elwes, and also the CIA Director, who, by the way, is someone that we've known from the beginning now, and he's back in this movie, played by Henry Czerny, I hope I say his name correctly, who plays now not just the agent but the director of the CIA, because apparently Erica Sloan is no longer the CIA director. In fact, in this scene we see in a picture of her as a photo in this meeting room. I'm assuming it's the office of the Director of National Intelligence. And to be a little clear here about who has the more power, apparently maybe it's different in this movie franchise, but in normal life, the CIA director and the Director for National Intelligence kind of have a similar kind of power when it comes to getting intelligence, because the CIA is actually viewed as an independent agency from the US intelligence community, but they still work with them to get information from abroad, because the CIA is especially known for doing work abroad, and most, well, not all of the US intelligence community does work outside of America. As for instance, the FBI also falls under that umbrella agency. Yet another term. Umbrella meaning part of a larger organization. Yes. Okay, so let's continue. And the director, Kidrich, is explaining that this entity, the rogue AI, can manipulate cyberspace, so not just the internet, but like financial networks and intelligence and global defense. And they are also talking about the IMF, of course, because of what they do and how good they are or not. And So all of a sudden we see that the room is being gassed and everyone falls unconscious. Everyone but Kittredge, who has been given a gas mask by the person that Ethan is pretending to be. And Ethan takes off the mask for a moment to get to talk to Kittredge, and Kittredge is forced by Ethan to admitting that he placed a bounty on Elsa Faust. And of course, Ethan is not happy with this at all. And so he escapes as Kittredge calls for security, of course, to get Ethan out. But Ethan escapes, as he's now determined to go and destroy this rogue AI. And Ethan meets up with his teammates, Benji Dunn, played in this movie, of course, by Simon Pegg in this picture right here. And also Lover Stickle, played by Ving Rhames, all throughout this franchise. And they meet up in the international airport of Abu Dhabi, where they are about to intercept the second part of the cruciform key. But the one they find is actually a fake, as Ethan encounters someone that they didn't think would be in their way. And this is Grace, a very skilled thief, someone, as I said before, that we haven't seen before in this franchise. And she is played by Hayley Atwell, who you might know from the MCU, as she has played Carter there. Not Jane Carter from this franchise, but Agent Carter from the Shield. And so she plays Grace, a very skilled thief in this franchise now. And she steals the first part of the key from Ethan, while Luther and Benji are dealing with another tenuous item. Let me just check for a moment if I use that word right there. No. Anyway. So, as Ethan was dealing with this woman, with Grace, Luther and Benji have been dealing with a bomb, apparently, that has shown up at this airport. But it's not just any kind of bomb. It has a nuclear element in it, actually. And it's the way it's designed is kind of like, and I'm gonna refer to another movie for a moment. In the Da Vinci Code, there's a kind of element that is used to find a clue. And it's just like this kind of cylinder formed thing with codes all over it. And so this device that they find in the international airport of Abu Dhabi is kind of similar. It's a cylinder with a lot of codes, and it's asking for a lot of information, as it is digital. Not digital, it is a very complicated piece of technology, and it holds this nuclear element. But as everything is happening, as they're trying to disarm this device, they learn ultimately when they think that the shit is about to hit the fan, it actually appears to be just a hoax, and there's nothing in it. And while they're there, there's also the CIA that is pursuing the group, especially Ethan. And I think we have Well, one of those agents is a guy named Degas, and he's played in this movie by Greg Tarzan Davis. And the other one I recognize too from another movie. Gonna have to look it up for just a second. I remember him from Fast and the Furious. From Fast 5, actually. Just a second. He was played by... Oh, just a second, folks. I'm looking it up. No, I don't mean The Rock. Not his character. Not Luke Hobbs. I mean somebody else. Oh, hold on. Maybe I was not in this one. Sorry. I'm trying to get to it. Ah, okay. Here's the thing. I didn't recognize him in the photo, but I found him now. So, this guy... There's the two agents of the CIA that are pursuing them with a couple of others from their team. And the head guy, the lead agent, the special agent, is played by Shea Wiggum, who plays Briggs. And so he's the same guy that plays a role in the 6th Fast and the Furious, which is what I was looking for. And so him and Greg Tarzan Davies are playing two agents from the CIA trying to handle the situation with the IMF. Yes. So sorry about that. That was a long moment. But as this pursuit is going on, with Ethan trying to get Grace, and he's being pursued by the CIA agents, he spots someone that he used to know from very long ago, from even before he was part of the IMF. And this guy is called Gabriel, and in this movie he's played by Esai Morales. I hope I said his first name correctly. And he is actually someone that is working for the entity. And even so shook by seeing this guy, by seeing Gabriel, that he aborts the mission and he orders the rest of them, Benji and Lufer, to go away, to absolutely just scatter. And so we got to another well-known place in the world, one of the oldest places, Rome. And here we find Grace, who has escaped. But she has been apprehended by the local authorities. And she is being held on suspicion of being a thief, as she has many different passports. And she is told that she has a call at the embassy. I'm assuming it's the embassy. From her lawyer, and she and the police most likely go to this person, and that of course happens to be Ethan, who now gets her out of there, and they start to get pursued again, this time from both the Roman authorities, the agents from the CIA, and somebody else that we see for the first time in this movie, another person that works for the entity named Paris. And it's a woman. She's played by the incredible Pom Klementieff, who plays Paris. And so Ethan and Grace escape, and it's through a fun sequence of action, a chase sequence, until we get Ethan back to his team with Luther and Benji, and also apparently Ilsa. And they make up a new plan, or rather, they plan to get to the next clue, to getting the one of those keys to get the rogue AI. And so Ethan and Ilsa follow Grace, who now has this key, and gets to Venice. And here we meet a rather new old face in Alana Mitsopoulos, once again played by Vanessa Kirby, as she is holding a party at the Palazzo Ducale in Venice, which is the old place where the Doges used to reside. And so Alana has the second piece of the key, and so Ethan and Ilsa go to Venice. They go to the party, and once they're inside, Alana reveals that she has the second piece of this key, and she also tells them that she was the one that hired Grace to steal the first part of the key. And she has a larger plan to do this, to get the next part, and she's gonna sell the completed key, so the both parts together, to a buyer the next day on the Orient Express. And we meet up with Gabriel here too, as he proclaims that he is going to have that key because the entity wants it, as he is working for it, just like Paris, who's also at this party. And we meet all these people who are there. That's Gabriel, that's Alana, that's Ethan and Ilsa, and Grace too. And Gabriel also gives Ethan an ultimatum that either one of those women, Ilsa or Grace, is going to die, depending on who Ethan chooses. And Ethan, being a clever guy, tries to dissuade Alana from selling the completed key, which allows Gabriel and Grace to escape. And we get another cool chase fight scene throughout Venice this time, as Ethan is going after Grace as she is trying to get away. Yeah. But here, the entity, who has been exposed, by the way, too, at this party, it cuts into the communications of the team, and Benji finds out firsthand that it starts to impersonate him, and that leads Ethan into a fight with the other entity liaison, Paris, once again played in this movie by Pom Klementieff, which is a very cool fight in between a very small corridor where Ethan has to fight Paris. And this is in contrast with another fight that is happening, as Gabriel is fighting on one of the many bridges in Venice, as he gets a hold of Grace and incapacitates her and also has a dagger fight. A and this is something that I personally love. A a knife sword knife fight basically, because Ilsa is carrying something quite a bit bigger than just a knife or a dagger. But unfortunately, to her detriment, as Gabriel manages to kill Ilsa. And Ethan ultimately gets out of that corridor with Paris, having disabled, I guess, so many bones of hers, and he finds Ilsa on that bridge as she has been stabbed fatally. And he's absolutely devastated by this. And we cut back to the team as Ethan is, by the way, just still mourning the loss of his close one. Just a bit right here. It's really unclear to me what exactly they are. Are they just like good friends or very close ones? Sound off in the comments if you notice and tell me about it. So let's continue now. And as they are preparing for the sail the next day, Luther leaves to go to an off-grid location. So, because he believes that he can prevent the entity from interfering again. And he also advises Ethan that he should spare Gabriel so they can know more about the entity. And we get a train sequence with our villain of this movie, Gabriel. I was reading this wrong for a moment. So Gabriel and Paris are both on a train, and they will do what villains do. They kill people. They kill the people working on the train, and he gets the train to throttle. Well, he kills the device that allows the train to stay in control, and so it doesn't. And Gabriel meets up with Denlinger, who again in this movie is played by this man, Gary Elwes. Who really wants the entity. And he also reveals that actually the entity was an advanced cyber weapon that was developed by the United States. And it got transferred onto the submarine, the Sevastopol, to sabotage the stealth system of the submarine. As a little tidbit here, usually submarines are used to get to the cables on the floor of the oceans to tap off information, many different kinds of information. If you think, how do I know this? I just know this because it all happens more than a few times in movies like these. So let's continue. So with that all known, and the extra bit of information here is that a completed cruciform key, it's a tough word, folks. A completed cruciform key unlocks. I'm just gonna read this as it's standing here. The completed key unlocks a chamber inside the Sevastopol containing the source code of the entity, allowing it to be either controlled or be destroyed. And Dillinger was the only one to notice, so with this information, Gabriel kills Dillinger. And he, in this moment, also turns on Paris, as the entity communicates to him that it predicted that she will betray them, after even previously spared her life, having not killed her in that tight corridor in Venice. And now, as part of the plan of the team, Grace is also on the train, but she's portrayed as Alana in the same kind of face mask way that the IMF does as Alana this time. And she gets the now completed key back to Kittredge, once again played by Henry Czerny in this movie, who is revealed to be the buyer, actually, that Alana wanted. So Alana initially wanted to give the key to Kittredge, and so Grace, disguised as Alana, gives it to him. And here he is revealed to be the buyer. And Alana, disguised, negotiates a $100 million sale, along with protection for herself. So that's her negotiation for doing this. But she cancels it at the very last moment and pickpockets it back from Kittredge. And here we get another interesting stunt where Ethan parachutes himself into the train to come and save Grace. But in the process, Gabriel gets the key and he goes away with it, only for him to fight Ethan atop the train. And while they're fighting, Gabriel manages to detonate a device that he had on a bridge where the train was supposed to go over. And so the bridge is completely destroyed. And that leaves Grace and Ethan, as Gabriel escapes, to save all the passengers aboard the train, and they attach the runaway locomotive, as it is the front part of the train. And we get this kind of I don't know how many of you have played one or more of the Uncharted games, but there's a similar kind of moment in the second one where you have Nathan Drake hanging off a cliff with a train, and we get a scene similar like that right here, where they are trying to get through all the train cars of the Orient Express. And ultimately, like the entity predicted, they're rescued by Paris. And she tells Ethan, as they get up, about the connection of the key to the submarine, the Sevastopol, before she collapses from her wounds. And we do meet Kittredge back now, and Grace tells him that... Excuse me for a second. Okay, so they meet Kittredge back, and in this moment, Grace lets him know that she is no longer part of anything and just working for herself, but now she actually wants to join the IMF, given everything that she has just been through, and that she wants to work for a higher cause than herself. Meanwhile, Ethan gets to fly away from the wreckage of the train, now with the completed key, and he does this with a paraglider. I don't have a picture of that, unfortunately, because in the movie it is a very cool moment at the end of the movie. And so he now has the completed key, which he got from Gabriel as they were fighting. And he rendezvous with Benji as they continue the mission to find the Sevastopol, and where they hope to destroy the rogue AI called the Entity. Okay, and that is the end of this movie. And so that has been a lot of this franchise. I rewatched Dead Reckoning to be sure to do this, and it's been fun doing this. I love to actually go through all of this information and then look things up and do these episodes for you guys. And if you manage to stick all through my ranting and raving, then I want to thank you right now and right here for watching and listening to that. And also, if you like, you can like the video. You can also subscribe to the channel. And I want to thank you last time. And also, please share this with anyone and anybody that you know, friends, family, people from work, or people online even, if you're looking for this kind of content. And soon I will go see the Final Reckoning, the for now last movie in this franchise. And so I want to give you a final thank you for getting through all of this with me. So thanks for all of that, and I will see you when the next episode for the Final Reckoning is out. See you then, and in the next video that you might watch from the channel. So, see ya. I've been Frederik for the FWX podcast. See you in the next video.